Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Andrew Yang and February 12th. All right? Now, why are we going to talk about February 12th? Well, February 12th from this day forward will always be for me, J. Scott Garibay, Andrew Yang Day. All right? It's the day that I will take each year to celebrate Andrew Yang, the most noble person who has ever run for a U.S. president. All right? Now, why am I choosing February 12th as Andrew Yang Day? All right? Well, I'm going to tell you why. The reason why is Joe Rogan. Yes, podcaster, YouTuber Joe Rogan. He's an MMA commentator. He was on News Radio. He was on Fear Factor. And now he's got one of the biggest interview shows on the planet. Right? He absolutely rules in YouTube, and he absolutely rules in the podcast format. And the reason why February 12th will be Andrew Yang Day going forward is I don't ever want to forget the debt that every Andrew Yang supporter owes to Joe Rogan. And February 12th, 2019 was when Joe Rogan had Andrew Yang on and talked for 1 hour, and Andrew Yang talked long form with Joe Rogan in the best interview that has been done with Joe Rogan since then, right? Actually, it's the best interview that's ever been done with Joe. Joe Rogan's interview with Andrew Yang is the, bar none, best interview that has ever been done of Andrew Yang, without exception, okay? Now, I really feel this February 12th day, Andrew Yang Day, going forward, is incredibly important. And the reason why is we want to celebrate Andrew Yang every single year going forward for all of time. We'll be celebrating, on February 12th, 2059, we'll all be celebrating Andrew Yang Day on Mars, right? So we want to celebrate this day. And at the same time we're celebrating Andrew Yang, we cannot forget this media champion who was there for Yang early, Joe Rogan. I want to talk about this. All right. I am convinced there are three primary reasons that Andrew Yang will be the U.S. president starting on January 20th, 2021. Three reasons. Reason number one, Andrew Yang himself. Blood, sweat, and tears. He is pouring his mind, body, and soul into this campaign. Everything and anything there is, he's giving it, right? So Andrew Yang's hustle, Andrew Yang's intelligence, Andrew Yang's character, everything is on the line, and he is holding nothing back, right, to get this job done. He is driving forward, right? And he's putting it and he's laboring every single day with incredible energy, with endurance, and he is putting in the blood, sweat, and tears. And I'm quite literal about that. I'm sure he scraped his hand at some point on the campaign trail. We see him sweating all the time. He runs around everywhere, and we've seen him cry. Like, when I say blood, sweat, and tears, that's not like that's literal, right? Like, he is holding nothing back. He is the number one reason that he will be president on January 20th, 2021. What is the second reason? His wife. His wife supported this crazy, awesome goal of his, right? And I'm thankful to her, all right? The third, and the one that we're focusing on today, is Joe Rogan, all right? Joe Rogan, master interviewer, and who I believe is the future of journalism. Joe Rogan was there for Andrew Yang 7 months ago. 7 months ago, okay? When no one knew Andrew Yang's name. When Andrew Yang was a blip, right? And wasn't even polling above 1%, right? Joe Rogan brought Andrew Yang in, and he gave him an unlimited amount of time, right? He said, hey, come on in, Andrew Yang. I'm going to treat you with respect. We're going to, I'm going to bring you in, and here's what's going to happen. Here's Joe Rogan's setup, right? He built this. He built this for long-form interviews, and they are the best interviews going today. The very best, right? Joe Rogan built a studio. He uses that studio. He has a single tech. He has himself, the interviewer, and he has the interviewee. That's it. Just 4 elements. Studio, tech, interviewer, Joe Rogan, interviewee, Andrew Yang, right? Now, and then long form. He turns on the mics, he turns on the cameras. No limits. No limits to what can be asked. No limits to time that you need to talk. No sound bites. Long form. Everything and anything that Andrew Yang wanted to talk about, he had an open forum to do it. And Joe Rogan put Andrew Yang in front of millions. So right now, the full uncut version of the interview has over 4 million views. I'm convinced that the cut-up versions probably have another 1 or 2 million, and the podcasts probably have a few million beyond that. So, when nobody cared about Andrew Yang, Joe Rogan came in and gave him a platform of 5 to 10 million people who got to hear Andrew Yang in full form. The full story of UBI, the full story of the Freedom Dividend, the full story of everything and anything Andrew Yang wanted to present, his policies, his ideas, the reason why he's running, everything. It was the best, it is still, to this day, the best interview that has ever been done on Andrew Yang. But here's the point, right? I'm not kidding. 2 days ago, Rachel Maddow, who is supposed to be a respectable journalist, brought Andrew Yang in, asked him a question for 2 minutes and dismissed him like he was a dog, right? Rachel Maddow, who is supposed to be an honorable member of the media, is still not giving time, attention, or respect to a candidate who is now polling fourth in national polls, right? He has defeated Buttigieg, Beto O'Rourke, Klobuchar, Castro, you name it, right? Everybody but the great white nope, which is Sanders, Warren, Biden, right? It drives me crazy, right? And the reality is, so now, even just 2 days later, after Yang Media Blackout has been trending on Twitter for 2 months, Rachel Maddow's like, I still don't need to give you time, attention, respect. But I'm going to point you back to 7 months ago when Joe Rogan brought on Andrew Yang when nobody knew him, gave him time, attention, and respect, right? And handed him 5 to 10 million viewers, listeners, who could hear him uninterrupted in all of his radiant, brilliant glory, right? And so that's the issue, right? So when we talk about Joe Rogan, he is the absolute future of journalism. Long form, no sound bites. Bring the person in, let them say everything they need to say. Give them time, attention, and respect. It's crazy that he's the only person doing this. And guess what? He has less resources than almost any traditional media. He certainly has far less research than Rachel Maddow, and yet had the ability to give Andrew Yang time, attention, and respect, right? I will never forget what Joe Rogan did for Andrew Yang. And I think the reason Andrew Yang is going to be president is going to be Andrew Yang's own hustle. Andrew Yang's incredibly loving and supportive wife, right? And Joe Rogan. That's it. That's the team, man. That's why this is happening, right? And I really believe February 12th, 2019, when Joe Rogan brought Yang in and surpassed the entire media by just giving him time, attention, and respect, did what MSNBC wouldn't do, did what CNN wouldn't do, did what, all the traditional media outlets would not do. Joe Rogan was there. He gave him the proper respect. And just like Joe Rogan is the future of journalism, Andrew Yang is the future of politics. He is the future of politics. He proved himself external to politics. He proved himself in education, in labor, in benevolence, right? He is a return to character. In the last 30 years, both the Democrats and the Republicans have experimented with removing character from the person to be elected to president, right? So Bill Clinton was the first. Oh, character's optional. Trump is the second. Oh, character's optional. Promises made personally, promises made professionally, they're simply suggestions. And these two men were like, character isn't necessary. That experiment is done. That experiment is done. That experiment is done. Character is needed. Yang is a return to character, right? So so Yang is the future of politics because he is proven externally to politics. He is, and he is a full return to character. He is fully the future of politics. Joe Rogan is the future of journalism. Yang is the future of politics. And February 12th, 2019 is a day that is now a historical American iconic date. It is incredibly important, and it needs to be never ever forgotten. And every single person who supports Andrew Yang, right, needs to never forget that when nobody in the media would give Yang time, Joe Rogan gave Andrew Yang all the time, all the attention, and all the respect he needed to serve for Joe Rogan's podcast, YouTube show, to serve as an absolute launching pad. And Andrew Yang used that. He hit the boosters, and now he's up in the sky, and we're all looking at him. But he's there because of his own hustle, because of the support of his wife, and because Joe Rogan is a better journalist than anyone who works for CNN, MSNBC, or Fox News, or anyone in the mainstream media. I'm fully convinced of that. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and let me know what special food you will eat on February 12th as you celebrate Andrew Yang Day in 2020. Take care.